again, with that pendulum swinging with privacy, is that it's going to make you have a better consumer experience with your customer, and that you need to get some level of trust with them ultimately to really get the real rich data that you ultimately need. And so instead of sort of, as we like to say, creepily behind the scenes to dropping cookies and collecting this information about you, instead, if there's a way for us to have a conversation with you where you willingly want to give that data for you to have a better experience overall, and you know why it's being put to use, I think hopefully it draws more of the conversation to that end.
So it's almost a win-win, right? Investing more in people and technology to increase consent and privacy, but you're also hopefully going to extract more information from your consumers in the best way possible to keep that above board, right? And
You're looking to ultimately get the good data oftentimes instead of going to get big data. If I can get this consent-based, really rich demographic, preference-based user level data, that's so much more valuable than just in, say, an age, gender from a larger pool.
you're killing it with the themes here. I love good data, not big data. That's another one as well. I'm going to put that into a press release coming soon to you. So Jess, we kind of hit on the two areas I think you're really focused on: the concept of obviously the tech around clean room, but also the consent piece, which obviously I know you're hyper focused on. Outside of those two areas, or you can dig into those if you'd like, are there other areas of privacy tech that you're focusing on? Feel free to get as nerdy as you'd like or not, depending on what you're feeling.
Well, in the line of good data, not big data. So there's a lot of companies that are coming up that API into the CMPs. They call themselves personal data vaults, but they're in line with like the sovereign identity and decentralized identity tools. So like QConsent is one of them that comes to mind, and Big Token, some of those guys are another one. And what they'll do is they'll actually help you build your profile first party data over time, because they might only have like 9 million opted in profiles, but they'll be able to take your first party data and then like through declared data tactics or zero party data tactics, whatever you want to call it, they'll be able to go and say, like, if you're a CPG, hey, what's on your Instacart shopping list? And then through that, they acquire behavioral attributes, but they might also acquire PII. Like if you have a name and email, they might get a phone number and a mailing address. And so for us, yes, net new first party acquisition is critical, but so is building that profile over time so that you know more things, so that you can then pre-qualify audiences and high impact creative through other mechanisms for future state planning. So those types of things that we would call like personal data vaults are big. We also bucket those into data unions. And so, those are things like the Braves and other, browser plugins or apps, again, like the Keeleys and the Big Tokens of the world, who through monetary compensation, whether it's PayPal, NFT, whatever, you consumer have a digital wallet or a personal data vault, you give your information, in exchange you get paid, you see an ad, you get paid, you get monetary compensation for that, and it's completely opt-in and consumer first. And so it's a whole different type of advertising experience, and you have an amalgamation of all these apps and extensions and browsers and search engines, and on their own, they're not scalable, but put together, they're kind of called data unions. I guess that's what they're calling it now. The DPPA calls them that. And together, they're scalable. And so those are quite interesting to me, because I kind of think they're going to start replacing third-party data marketplaces. Sure. And they're different than second-party data, because as you start opting in as a brand to use them, you're getting things back that enhance your first